What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. So yesterday we advanced to the gladiator circuit in Battlegrounds, which means we got through the victory track. So this is definitely one of the hardest victory tracks, so I want to share some information. So we're going to go through the best attackers and the best defenders for the victory track meta with the power burn node, and we're going to go through each champion individually that works as a defender and as an attacker. So the victory track meta is basically the opponent will gain an armor up every 10 hits, and it lasts for 30 seconds. And if you hit them while they have the armor up active, you get power burn, so you take damage and you lose power. So we don't want that to happen. Let's go for the best attackers for this meta. So the best attackers, they can either be champions that nullify this armor up, that can stagger it before it comes up, armor break it, or you can use champions that are power burn immune, and also you can use champions with single hit heavy attacks and spam heavy attacks to build up to the special 2, and then hopefully it's enough to get rid of the opponent's health, or most of the opponent's health, so you don't lose too much damage. But first off, we got science champion. So we have Abomination Immortal. He's got the single hit heavy attack, and once you get to the SP2, you have the aura active. So if you have him at like Awakened and High Sig, he could potentially kill an opponent without taking too much damage, because if you're close to them without hitting them, they are getting the poisons, which means you can get the acid burn, and it's hopefully enough to like take down an opponent with like a low health pool. I've seen people use Eye Bomb for like specifically man things, because they actually help you with the poison, so you can keep your aura up. But yeah, he's not too bad. Then we have Anti-Venom. Anti-Venom has stagger on his heavy attack, and it has its 2 stack as a maximum, and you can easily inflict with just a heavy attack. It's a 10-second stagger, and you want to do that before they get their armor up, so you can stagger it really quickly, and then nothing is going to happen with the armor up. And then we have Torch. So Human Torch has two different ways to work. I only use them against Mystics, and you either want to hit the opponent 10 times, and then you want to chill 30 seconds until that armor up wears off, and then you hit them again, and they're usually dead after like the other 10 hits. So if within 20 hits, they should be dead, because at that point you will be building temperature by blocking hits from Mystics. And the other way you can do it is like block until you have like 35 smolders or 40, and then with 10 hits, you should be able to take down the defender without waiting the 30 seconds. But I would recommend the first way. So 10 hits, then chill, build up temperature, and then after 30 seconds, you go for another 10 hits. That's how I usually play him. And then we have Joe Fixit. Joe Fixit, as you might know, he has a disorient, and he can make this a double and a triple disorient. And if you get a triple disorient, you can reduce the opponent's defensive ability accuracy by 120%. That means if they have an armor up active, you are not going to take the damage back. And if they don't have an armor up active, the hits, they're not going to count. And it's really easy to keep up 2 disorients, so 80%, which is almost to like 100. And if you have them at High Sig like I do, you can spam 2 special 2s. The rotation is basically, you want to pop a special 2 and build up to the special 2 with only heavy attacks. You pop the first special 2 with 1 pair of the same cards. Then you build up to another special 2, so that means you're going to get 2 disorients that time. And then you want to quickly pop special 1s, so you can get that 3rd disorient, and then pop another special 1. This is usually what I do. It takes me like 80 seconds, and they're getting a lot of bleeds, so he kind of works. I've used him in a couple fights. Then it's Mr. Fantastic. Mr. Fantastic has a single hit heavy attack, and most of his damage comes from reversing opponent's willpower, so he definitely can work if you chill a little bit. Quake can also work because you don't need to hit the opponent, but with 6 rank 4s right now, it's kind of tough to take down that much health pool, like 200k health pool. It takes a while, but she could definitely work. Then we have Scorpion. Scorpion is not the greatest, but because he's got a single hit heavy attack, you can get to that SP2 and fire it off, but he's not the best for this because most of his damage comes from his sting debuffs, and if you don't throw medium attacks, you don't get a lot of sting debuffs, so you might be able to throw like a special 2 with 2 sting debuffs. So he's not the greatest, but he could work. And then the last science champion that I feel like can work as well, really good actually, is Titania. Titania has stagger with her heavy attack as well. So she definitely can work with this. She doesn't gain buff, so she's one of the best champions to deal with Man-Thing, for example. And then we move on to the skill champions. So there's some skill champions that definitely can work really well. So we have Black Cat. Black Cat has her cards. We have the... she also, with her cards, she can inflict the opponent with a sabotage debuff, which reduces their ability accuracy by 40%. And you can also, especially if you're fighting science champions, if you heavy counter them a lot, you can build up your combo really quickly. And the more combo you have, the more you reduce the opponent's ability accuracy. So I believe against science champions, if you have 40 hit combo, you decrease their ability accuracy by 60%, and if you time it with a sabotage, you can make that 100%. So their abilities will fail, and she definitely can work. But she's a bit tough to use. I used her once or twice. She wasn't the greatest because you needed to be lucky, because before that sabotage comes in play, you only have 60% ability accuracy reduction. So you need to be a little bit lucky so you don't take a lot of damage back. But she definitely can work, especially if you get heavy counter. Then we have the classic Black Panther. The classic Black Panther reduces the opponent's defensive ability accuracy by 10% for each bleed. And he also has Panther's Might, which reduces the ability accuracy by quite a bit. It says reduce the opponent's defensive ability accuracy by 50%. So if you're aggressive, you can keep the bleeds up. You can have 100% defensive ability accuracy uptime. So he's pretty good for that one as well. Then we have Crossbones. He reduces ability accuracy based on how many Furies he's got. He's one of the best attackers for this meta for sure. And that's same as with Falcon. Falcon is definitely safer than Crossbones because you just activate the lock-on and there's no armor ups. And the good thing about Falcon is that he can even do fights where the opponent starts with armor ups because you're not going to take the damage back. You reduce all of the opponent's ability accuracy. Then we have Hitmonkey. Hitmonkey, I don't have him on my deck, but if you're lucky and you have the mastery that reduces the opponent's ability accuracy, I believe it's called Pacify, and time it with the Disorient right here, which decreases the opponent's defensive ability accuracy by 40%. If you only hit the opponent while they're stunned, if you have max Pacify, that is a 70% ability accuracy reduction, so he could work because he's a nuke as well. He doesn't need to do a lot of hits, but I don't have him on my deck because I don't run Pacify, and yeah, I don't want to risk it, basically. Then we have Kingpin. Kingpin, if he's high sick, he's a very, very good champion for this because the more rages he's got, the more power gain he gets. And you only want to play Kingpin with heavy attacks and special ones because you want to minimize your combo, and then the special one reduces the opponent's ability accuracy by 65%. And if you are quick, you can make that double degen, which means reduce it by 130%. So he's a beast for this as usual, even for this meta. Then we have Massacre. Massacre, if you know what you're doing, he can get those fights really quick. Get those fights done really quick because you mostly want to be hitting with Massacre in the opponent's block. So you're not going to trigger the node. And that's the same thing as Valkyrie. Valkyrie is the same thing as Massacre. You don't need to hit the opponent in the face so they're not going to get the armor up. All the damage comes from hitting them in the block. Then we have a Mole Man. I have my Mole Man in my deck because he's rank 4 stick to 100. He's one of those that has a single hit heavy attack. And because he can have those guaranteed crits, he hits really hard. And if you have him at like 6 to 100 and rank 4 like I do, he usually kills up the opponents with a single special 2 and like the 6 or 7 heavy attacks that you need to build up to that special 2. So he's pretty solid for this, unless there's like a very huge health pool like Sasquatch or Rintra. I don't usually use him for that. Plus, he's a pretty good defender. And then yeah, that's all the skill champions that work for this meta. I might have missed some, but yeah, that's all I can think of. And then mutants, we got a couple mutants. So Archangel can obviously work. You build up those neurotoxins. No defensive ability or no ability accuracy for the opponent, so no armor ups. Then we have Kitty Pryde. Kitty Pryde has phase where she doesn't take any damage if you have her awakened. And she also has a single hit heavy attack, so you can either hit the opponent with 7 heavy attacks, build up to that SP2 and fire it off, just deal some damage, or you just keep phasing back and forth so you don't take any damage from the node. She's not the greatest option, but she can work even with champions that start with armor up like Colossus. And then we have both Magnetos. They definitely work if the opponent is metal, because they reduce ability accuracy by 70%. If you have max pacify, that is 100%. And then we have Namor. Namor, I would only suggest him if you have him at SIG 200 or really close to it, because he can transfer the damage back from the power drain or from the node when you're getting power drain when they have the armor up. So he definitely can make some miracles. You don't even need him as a 6 to rank 3. Even 5-star can work because most of the damage comes from the node. Then we have Omega Red. Omega Red could work. I have him on my deck with Suicides. And the reason why Omega Red can work is that he deals a lot of damage with his spores, and you don't need to hit the opponent. You just need to be close with them. And if you have like a really good AI, if you're lucky, he definitely can work. But you need some pretty good luck, to be honest. And yeah, that's it. That's all for the Mutant champions that can work. And then Tech champions. So Tech champions, we have Ghost. I have a SIG 200 rank 4 Ghost. She gains a lot of power when the opponent is missing on her phase. So what I usually do is like phase until I'm at like 1 bar and a half. Then I throw a couple of cave attacks to try and get some Furies or Cruelties. And then 1 SP2 gets them below 40%. And then I try to build up with phasing hits again to another special 2. And I don't take too much damage. It takes a bit of time because you need to have that cooldown for phase as well. But she definitely can work. She's pretty crazy. Howard is pretty crazy too. He's got armor breaks and his heavy attack has got like 1,000,000 armor breaks, so he definitely can counter the node. Then also we have Hulkbuster. You can spam his special once to inflict a armor break each time it's the armor up it's about to come, so he works as well. Then we have Nebula. Nebula, if she has 10 of those AMP charges, she reduces the opponent's ability accuracy by 100% if she has 10, or actually, yeah, by 40% if they are robot. So with 5, you actually reduce them by 100%. So she works on robots really well. Then we have Nimrod. Nimrod is one of those champions that he's got a pretty crazy SP2 damage, especially if you have high SIG, and he's got a single TTV attack. So I use him against Mutant champions where he can get more armor ups, which means more damage on the shocks and his basic attacks. So only want to do Power Heavy with Nimrod and try to kill some mutants, because I wouldn't use him against non-mutants because the damage is just not going to be enough. But he definitely works. Then we have Rocket Raccoon. Rocket Raccoon with his heavy attack, he inflicts an armor break and by consuming 10 scrap metal. So you want to hit the opponent until you get 10, and you get those with crits, and then just throw heavy attacks to remove the armor up every 10 hits. Then we have Sarkhan Spider-Man. He's got a single hit heavy attack as well. He's a nuke because he crits a lot. And by building 10 poise charges, most fights would be done with like 15 hits. So you might take a little bit of damage if you're unlucky with the crits. But he's a pretty good champion, especially if you have him at rank 4. And then the last 2 tech champions that work, we have Warlock. Warlock, if you do parry heavy, he only has 1 hit heavy attack. And if you time the SP2 armor breaks with the armor up, you're gonna have a good time with Warlock. And then we have Yondu. Yondu can kind of work. He's not too safe though. His attacks have a 25% chance to pilfer 1 armor up. So it's not the highest, but he could work if you for some reason have it ranked up. So yeah, he's not the greatest, but he can work for sure. And then Cosmic Champions. Cosmic Champions are the best for this meta, for sure. We got a bunch. So I didn't put Ed Walker. He's got an armor break, but he's kind of weak without synergies and stuff like that. We have Angela. Angela applies armor breaks with your special attacks. Really, really easy way to deal with the node. We have Annihilus. Annihilus has armor breaks, so he's a good counter to that too. Captain Marvel movie can even apply armor breaks through the block, so I would recommend her. Corvus is really great, but I would only use him with suicides, because if he runs out of 20 charges, he's not the greatest, because he doesn't crit, doesn't do much damage. However, he can still manage to deal with the node even without the charges. Then we have CGR. CGR, you need to change up the rotation. I usually go for heavy into power gain, and then do a couple of heavies to pop the special 2. And then after the special 2 is over, you would have armor break armor breaks up, so one armor up is going to be gone. And then the next armor up, you just want to domination it, so finish the combo with a medium attack, so you get the 5th judgment. And then you can domination the second armor up if you have them awakened. And by that time, they should be down. Then we have Call Obsidian. Call Obsidian is pretty decent. He's got armor breaks and his heavy attacks. His first fight is never the best fight. It's always the worst, actually. But he definitely can work as well. Galen is just probably the best champion for this meta. If you don't have him, you have to ban him. Because he is immune to the power burn damage right here. He's immune to power drain, power burn, lock, and special lock. And plus, if you have him awakened, he gains a lot of his, I don't know how it's called, his harvest charges if the opponent has an active armor up. So yeah, he gets to 999 really quick and just destroys everybody. I think we all have experienced that. And then the next champion, we have Gore. Gore, when he gets power burned, he actually gets a regen, and he will start getting low on health, like 30% health. But then his regen is really potent because it's based off missing health. So he's gonna shoot back up to 80%. So he definitely can work as well for this meta. Then we have Hulkling. He's immune to power burn as well. Same thing as Galen. Hyperion can work. He's got a guaranteed armor break on the SP2, but the bad thing about Hyperion is that you need to parry heavy to build up your damage, and he's got 5 hits on his heavy attack, so you need to play a bit slower with Hyperion if you don't want to take much damage. Then we have King Groot. King Groot has even indefinite armor breaks from his SP1, but you don't even need those because he is immune to power burn, so he's a very good counter for the node. Then we have Null. Null has Living Abyss, and Living Abyss count as armor break, so you can remove armor ups with his Living Abyss, and even through the block. Then we have Medusa. Medusa has her medium attacks, inflict armor breaks, and special ones, and stuff like that. You can even armor shatter the opponent. They're not going to gain a single armor up after that. Then Nova works only on tech champions because he consumes, I think, 25 of his Nova charges to inflict the opponent with a 24-second armor break. So if you time it correctly, he could work. I've never used him offensively though, but he seems like a decent counter to the node. Then we have Red Goblin. Red Goblin is immune to power burn as well, so he completely counters the node, just like Galen and Hulkling. Then we have Silver Surfer. Silver Surfer has armor breaks on special ones or heavy attack, so he could work for sure. This Spider-Man can work as well. I don't even know if he exists as a 6-star. I think he does, but he's got a very crazy armor break on his heavy attack. He's got a 100% chance to inflict it. So if you have him ranked up, he definitely can work. Then we have Terax. Terax is immune to power burn as well, so he is amazing for this one too. Thor, if you have him high sig, he definitely can work as well. With parries, he removes armor ups, definitely can work. Venom is great because he's got armor breaks with his heavy attacks, guaranteed. He is immune to power burn if the opponent is tech, and he can also nullify the armor ups with special ones. So he's got 3 ways of dealing with the node. Venompool is immune to power burn as well, if I'm not mistaken, against tech champions. Yes, so he definitely works like that. Same thing, he can own the opponent's armor ups. Very, very decent. And then Vision Arcus is the last cosmic champion that can work. If you're close to the opponent, you don't even need to hit them. You inflict them with armor break, and also you can armor shatter them with the special 2. And then lastly, we have the Mystic class. So the Mystic class, we got some champions that definitely can work because they nullify a lot. So we have Claire. Claire is insane because she can nullify on hit, and she also has that buff immunity. And plus, if the opponent is immune to a buff, when you have that buff immunity on, they're trying to get that armor up. You get power for for some seconds. So she definitely is one of my favorite counters to the node. Then we have Diablo. Diablo, you gotta pop his pre-fight, his nullify pre-fight. So you pop special 1 and then nullify that armor up. And if you have Mystic Dispersion, it would be much easier. You can cycle those SP1s right when that armor up is gonna come and then just nullify it with the pre-fight. We have Doom. Doom can stagger with heavy attacks. He can nullify with a special 1, so he is a very good counter to that node. Then we have both Iron Fists. They can definitely work. They have a lot of armor breaks. I don't know if people have them ranked up though. That's the only thing. Juggernaut is insane. If you have him awakened, he can even nullify with his hits. But the best thing about him is that he's got stagger on his heavy attack, which is the guaranteed way of dealing with the node. Then we have Longshot. Longshot is crazy because he's got a Fate Seal on the SP2. He gets that SP2 really, really fast. The opponent is trying to get the armor up, so they're constantly getting hit with Incinerate damage. So he's definitely one of the best champions for the node. And then someone that could work is MCOC. I've never used him though, because on his heavy attack, he consumes 2 Hatred to inflict an armor rate debuff. So if you keep being aggressive and pop the special 1s, he also has stagger with his special 1s. So the second and final hit inflicts a stagger debuff. So you got 2 staggers. So you can deal with armor ups with armor breaks and the stagger. So he could be a decent counter if you don't have a better champion. Then we have Mephisto. Mephisto starts with his Soul Imprisonment, so the opponent cannot gain buffs. And if you keep popping special 1s, you have 3 special 1s that can inflict Soul Imprisonment. So you got some time to deal damage. I don't know if he can take the opponent down though with those 3 SP1s. But he could be a decent counter to the node. Then Mojo can reduce the duration of armor up, so definitely pretty good counter too. We have Rintra. Rintra has the neutralize, so the opponent, especially if they're cosmic, they cannot generate any buffs because that neutralize is guaranteed. But he can even work in champions that are not cosmic. But I would only use him against cosmic champs just to guarantee that. We have both Scarlet Witches. They are super great. This one is definitely more RNG based because the nullify, you need to crit, so you need to be lucky for it to trigger. But she can parry and remove buffs just like that. So definitely the better one. Sorcerer Supreme can be slow, but she has a special one that nullifies. And the final hit has a 100% chance to nullify one hit of the opponent. So she's got a guaranteed nullify as well. She might be a bit slow, but she could work. We have Symbiote Supreme. He starts the fight with stagger, so he could nullify armor ups that start within the fight, like Colossus or like Super Scroll. So definitely pretty good counter too. Hood is pretty great too. He's got a stagger with his, I think when he crits, and he's got that Fate Seal on that SP2, which is definitely a good thing. And then the last 2 champions, we have Tigra. Tigra is kind of tough to use because like she has neutralize, but if there's something weird with a node that the opponent will get their armor up if you miss the neutralize. If it's not 100% uptime, they will generate that armor up and there's nothing you can do. So she's definitely a bit risky. You need to be super aggressive for her to work. And then Wiccan is the last champion that can work because he's got, with his spells, he can have that neutralize up and pause it for the whole duration of the fight. He's pretty great for that because the opponent is trying to get armor up. So he constantly inflicts the opponent with Incinerate. So that's going to do it for the attack, the best champions for attack for the victory track meta. And yeah, this video will be pretty long. But now let's talk about the best defenders for this meta. We have science champions again. So science champions, there's not too many that can work. You can use all of them, but I will show you the best. So I thought this captain can be kind of annoying because if you try and nullify his armor up or armor break it, he could easily glance that hit and he's going to prevent your ability. So he could be a bit annoying if you're extremely unlucky. Thing is the best defender probably for this meta because he's both immune to nullify and armor break. So the only way you can deal with Thing is if you reduce his ability accuracy or if you are immune to power burn, which is tough to deal with, really tough to deal with. And then the last science champion is Overseer, because Overseer is immune to stagger, nullify, and fate seal effects as well. So you need to armor break him or reduce his ability accuracy as well. And then moving to the skill champions, we have not many. I only could find one that's like benefiting from the node. Like, obviously, Kingpin and Korg are really great defenders, but they don't gain something special from the node. So the only champion that gets something special from the node is Civil War Black Panther, because he gains a lot of armor ups. When he's attacked, he's got a 60% chance to get armor ups. So he definitely is annoying. I saw him once in my opponent's deck, and that was scary. I almost banned him. So yeah, moving to Mutant champions, we have Colossus. Colossus is crazy because he is immune to armor breaks and armor shatters from champions that are not tech. So if you want to armor break him, you need to bring tech champions. And I believe there's only like 3 champions that can do that. 3 or 4 champions that can armor break Colossus. And he also starts the fight with armor up, so even if you try and nullify it with Claire, you will take some damage at first. So he's really tough because he starts with the armor up, so you cannot even Fate Seal him. You need to instantly nullify them with like Simple Supreme or Claire, or have somewhat Power Burn immune, or reduce the ability accuracy. So he's definitely one of the best defenders for this meta too. Emma Frost, I thought she could be annoying because you cannot really stun her at the beginning. And if you want to use a champion with and do the parry heavy strategy, you cannot really do that. Like if you want to use Nimrod or Warlock, you cannot really get stuns in to connect your hits. So she could be a bit annoying. Then we have Storm Pyramid X. It's the same reason as Captain America Infinity War. If you want to nullify with some hits, she even has a higher chance to glance that hit. So she definitely could be a bit annoying. And then moving to the tech champions. Tech champions are definitely the best for this because they generate armor ups. So we have Sam Wilson. Sam Wilson gains armor ups, a lot of armor ups, when he's hitting the opponent or when he's getting hit. He's got a 30% chance to gain armor ups. And if you nullify them, they become passive. Passives, though, don't work for the node, but passives count for his auto block when getting struck by a special attack. So he's definitely a bit annoying. Civil Warrior is crazy for this meta because he is immune to nullify and stagger, and he starts fights with armor ups, and every 5 hits, I believe, he gets 1. So he's insane for this meta. Super, super crazy. Then we have Guardian, Guillotine. They both start with an armor up, so you gotta bring champions that instantly nullify it or armor break. You cannot go for stagger because they already have the armor up. However, the Doc is kind of crazy because he starts a fight with armor up as well. So he's one of the best attacker and defender for this meta, I would say. I usually ban him because, yeah, he's so good. So good. Hulkbuster starts with armor ups as well. He's not the greatest though, because if you crit, you're getting shocked and he's removing those armor ups. But he still generates them, so he's a bit annoying. Then we have Idoom. Idoom starts without armor up, so same thing as Guillotine and Guardian. So a bit annoying too. Kang has that same armor up as well. And if you try to armor break it or nullify it, it will come back. So definitely a bit annoying. Nimrod is one of the best tech defenders for this meta because armor breaks don't work on him. They work, but they don't remove armor ups. So you gotta bring nullified champions or power burn immune. Then we have Omega Sentinel. Omega Sentinel is immune to nullify, stagger, and fate seal effects. So you need to be careful. You need armor breaks or power burn immunes. So yeah, she's scary as well. Red Skull is kind of crazy because he starts with armor ups, and when he gets a bar of power, he gets more. I haven't seen him much though, because he's not great, to be honest. But as a defender, he's a beast in this meta. And then lastly, we have Vulture and Warlock. They both start with armor ups, so they are pretty decent as a defender in this meta for sure. And then Cosmic Champions. We got a bunch. So Angela has an armor up while she's between 1 bar of power, I believe. Says it here. Yeah, once she's below special 1, she gets armor up. So if you're baiting specials, you will start getting armor ups like crazy. So she's a bit annoying for this one. Annihilus is one of those champions that I always mess up. And he also is immune to nullify, fate seal, or stagger. So you need to be careful with Annihilus. You need to armor break him. So he definitely is a beast for this one as well. Then we have CGR. CGR starts with an armor up, so he could mess up some people, but he's not like you don't really want to rely on him. It's not the greatest. Galen is immune to nullify and fate seal ability, so He's even good as a defender in this meta. Oh man, what a champion. And then we have Silver Surfer. If you're unlucky and he gets, or he throws a heavy attack with the armor up, he's gonna get that, so you need to have a counter for that. Super Scroll is one of the worst defenders you can face, because he gets so many armor ups. He can get 6, and it's not fun. You need to have someone that can nullify him. Super annoying. And then Venom, if you're unlucky, he can start with an armor up as well, if you don't have a counter. So, could be a bit annoying. And then Mystics are kind of crazy for this one. So, Doom. He is armor break immune. Where does it say? Here. He is armor break, armor shatter immune. So, you need to bring nullified champions for him. Then we have Dragon Man. Dragon Man, if you try and armor break him, you will get a degen on you. So, you need to bring a nullified champion for this guy. Because, yeah, if you armor break him, you get a pretty crazy degen on you. Then Longshot is a special defender because he's got increased ability accuracy. If you see his passive, he's got a Longshot's base ability accuracy is 300%. So if you try and let's say use Archangel for him, Archangel and Falcon reduce ability accuracy. But because this guy has 300% of it, you don't reduce it. So he is still going to proc his abilities if you try and reduce his ability accuracy. So the only way you can deal with him is with Nullify or Armor Break. So yeah. And then we have Man-Thing. Man-Thing is immune to Armor Break, Armor Shatter. So you need to bring Nullified Champions for this guy. Mangog is immune to Armor Break as well. Where is it? Here. He's immune to Armor Break. So again, you need to bring Nullified Champions for this guy. Mephisto is the same thing as Longshot. He is immune to passive ability accuracy modifications. So you cannot use Falcon to bypass the node. So make sure to bring Nullified Champions or Armor Breaks. And then the last champion that is pretty decent is Wiccan, because Wiccan is immune to Armor Break as well. There's like Doom that's Armor Break immune. Dragonman is not Armor Break immune, but he's dangerous if you do that. Man-Thing, Mangog are immune to Armor Break, and Wiccan. So you need to bring a lot of Nullified Champions for this, to deal with them from this meta. But yeah, guys, that is a pretty long video. I hope it helps you, because it's definitely one of the worst victory tracks we had. And you need specific counters. So you need attackers that either nullify Armor Break, are Power Burn immune, or reduce ability accuracy. Those are the only 4 ways you can deal with champions in this meta. Or neutralize, but it's kind of like nullify. So yeah, guys, let me know what you think about this video. Maybe I missed a couple of good attackers, good defenders. But yeah, I tried my best. So yeah, let me know what you think about this video. And if you enjoyed it, please give it a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.